Hello and welcome to another episode of me painting again. Oh yes, we're painting again. And actually, I'd already started this painting and my computer crashed. What a disaster. So we're doing it again. New page. And let's get painting. You see, I use OBS to record. And for some reason, it crashed on me. So anyway, we're using some ultramarine blue and cerulean blue to make my blue. Of course, I'm making a blue. So I find if you mix them two together, you get a nice sky blue. Almost looks exactly like the sky. So this is a scene where I went for a walk. It's quite good going for a walk, taking pictures and then painting what you saw. Because sometimes, you don't really need dramatic scenes to paint all the time. I think painting, for me anyway, I just need to practice. So I'll practice painting any scene. Anything. I do like painting landscapes. I don't know why. I find them fun. Fun to see. Fun to find as well. So when you're out going for a walk and you suddenly see a scene that you like and you think, oh, that'll be alright, I'll take a picture of that. And then you can come back home and paint it. Or if you're feeling really adventurous, you could paint it right there and then. It's something I always say to myself I really need to do more of, plein air painting. But it is a lot harder because you've got to carry all your stuff out there. There we go, got a nice block there, block of blue. So if you've never painted before, you could paint this one. This would be a good one for a beginner. Definitely. Look how easy that is, you just paint a block of blue. You're just painting rectangles. So I'm getting some ultramarine blue. I'm just going to darken the top part. Just giving it that illusion of the light. Well, not really an illusion, that's what it was. It was light at the bottom and darker at the top. That is what it was. And you can create that graduation with acrylics, no problem. Just spraying my paints, spray them with an atomizer or something to mist the water a little bit. Stop your paints from drying out, especially if you're sat next to a radiator. Getting warm. So now what I want is brown. What I've got, my blue and brown is a bit mixed because I did this before. Bit of blue and a bit of brown mixed together. I didn't get that far on in the painting, luckily, when it crashed, so I wasn't crying. There's nothing worse than when you set up to do a painting for YouTube and then it crashes. I can't think of anything worse. I've had situations where I've been painting away and my camera was out of focus when I was using like handy cams. Good old handy cams. At the moment I'm just using a webcam. So this goes to about here, I think. And then it goes off there, goes whee. This is where I was walking. And when I was here, actually, there was a bloke walking his dog down here, and there I was, thinking, this will be a good place to take a picture, because originally, reminds me, I'm just going to get some white and a tiny bit of red on my finger. And the moon, yeah. Let's have a look at that. Let's give that a little bit of a move. Move the moon a bit. I think that's about right, actually. So that moon, I walked from all the way over here. Let's put the rest of the field in so we can see where I went. So there's grass there, grass. We can improve this as we go, but this is just a base. It's kind of like a wash, really. We're just washing it in. See, I kind of use acrylics a little bit like watercolors and a little bit like oils, and because that's what you can do with them. And I always think if you can do it with that medium, which you couldn't do with, say, an oil paint, if because it behaves a bit different, but you can do this sort of stuff. I mean, you can do quite a lot with oils, but one thing acrylics have got that I like is that you can use it as almost like a watercolor, as well as almost like an oil, almost like a watercolor. At the end of the day, it's still just pigment, isn't it? Still pigment. Right, what was I saying? Before I went on some weird talk about pigment. Yeah. So where are we? Oh yeah, we was walking. This is what I was talking about. I don't want that on my brush. What I want to start, as this dries, I might start building this up a little bit more while that dries, actually. And I tell you, this moon, this is what I was talking about. The moon wasn't there. Now, when I was walking along here, quite far away, I could see the moon there, and I thought, oh great, I'll walk all the way around the field and then up the path, and then I'll get to about where I was, and I can take a picture, and the tree will be here and the moon will be there, and it'll look really good. But I walked all the way round and the moon was all the way over here, and I was like, oh, why is the moon moved? I wanted that moon to be here where I've put it in my painting. Well, it moved because of the angle I was at. I was seeing it over here, but as I walked around, it was over there. It was really weird. I thought it was above these trees, but it was not. It was way over in that direction. But never mind. We can, in a painting, we can do what we like, can't we? So we can throw in a good old moon where we want it to go. So we'll put in some dark here, actually. Might as well. So this is all like bushes and stuff growing along here. I'll start with a wet kind of paint. This wet type paint just to get it going, really. Just used my finger just to strain it off a little bit, and then what I can do now is, actually I'll do this down here while that's drying, because I don't know how dry the sky is. It might be already dry, but I don't know. So what I'll do, get some of this old yellow ochre. It's actually I don't know if you've ever heard of this type of yellow ochre. See if I can see the tube. There it is. It was a Affinity acrylic. They used to have Affinity acrylics. They don't do them anymore. I think it's artist's range now or something like that. It was one of my first paints that I bought, actually. I bought a couple of the Affinity range because they were on offer. I didn't get them when they were full price because they were expensive. Just get some of this green on here. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. I think I need it to be a bit brighter. A bit more of the green in the colour. That's better. It'll dry a little bit duller anyway. And I don't mind some of that undercolour bleed through. Works quite well, actually. Especially with these type of sketchbooks. They do work quite nice. These are, they're not actually sketchbooks, they're for doing scrapbooking, but they work really well for painting on. I've got a few of them, actually. And if you're on a bit of a budget like I am, it's cheaper to do this than it is to use canvas. And it uses up less space as well. You haven't got millions of canvases hanging around. You can just fold up your sketchbook and then happy days, really. It's quite a good space saver. Funnily enough, the painting that I did on my last one that I did of another scene around this area, I did it on the front of the book. I didn't even notice until afterwards, and I was like, oh, I'm painting on the front of the book. Oops. But it didn't matter. It actually worked quite well using the front of the book. I did think at the time it was behaving slightly different than the paper, but I didn't even notice. I was so tuned into painting. So I'm grabbing some alizarin crimson, putting it in some brown. Make myself a bit of a burnt umber, really. Bit of yellow ochre in it. It's not bad. It's almost a burnt umber, almost. There is a bit of this colour here. And there's a bit of this colour here as well. In the side of stuff. That sort of comes out like this. Yeah, I can't see it anywhere else. Sometimes if I do that there, I'd balance it out and put something here, but the moon kind of balances everything for me. And then we've got the tree and things, so I think it's okay. I'll leave it as it is for now. So something that I always think about when I'm doing greens, because there's a lot of different greens when you're looking in nature. Sometimes a bit of blue, get a bit of ultramarine blue and throw that in your sap green, a bit of the yellow, and you've got a different green that you might be seeing, which I'm seeing here. So there. It's a bit lighter there. Got a bit of white on the corner there. There. It's good to use these different shades that you see. I'm sort of imagining this because it's, well, not imagining. I'm imagining the brush strokes, I suppose, and the floor. That's what I was trying to think. Imagine the ground is sort of going like that. That's what I'm imagining when I'm putting my brush strokes in. But we can work on all these little details afterwards. It's just grabbing a bit of brown in my colour now, because I want to do this bit here. There's a sort of a a bit of a tree there. Sort of a tree. Well, there is a tree there. It's not sort of a tree. There's one here as well. And then we've got our main tree, which I need to put in. I'm just sort of building this up, slowly but surely. Well, at least slowly. Maybe not as surely as I want. So I got this brush today. Not today. I got it out of the packet today, but I got it the other day. And I got some new brushes. And this was in a set of brushes. And it was only £4. Which, funnily enough, the other brush I got was £4. That brush on its own was £4, and then I got a load of little brushes for £4. I thought I might use this one today and get some of the finer little bits in. I don't know. We'll see. Right, where are we at? What should we do next? I think we can start doing some of the top of the bushes, I think. So I want some of this solid blue colour, blue and browny colour, but I do want to put some of the blue in places. So I'm mixing a dark green, blue, there's a bit of alizarin crimson in there. It's a real dark colour. Just going to get my atomizer, give my paints a spray again. So I just moved my camera slightly so I can, so I'm in there a little bit. I'm just going to move some of this. Just move some of this colour on top of here. It is a very dark area. You can see the gaps in amongst the stuff. I'm wondering if all these things are what is it when it's a thorny tree? I can't remember the name now. It's on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, you wouldn't want to walk through it, that's for sure. Walk under there, it'd be not very nice. Anyhow, so we've got that. Let that dry a little bit. And while we're at it, actually using this brush, we can start this good tree. The tree, really why I walked over here, to get the tree and the moon together. Although I've had to fake that. I want a much darker colour though. It's a reddy, bluey, greeny brown. That is better. Can I tap in this because the trunk looks like it's got ivy growing all up it. So that's like that. There's another bit that goes down there. There's another piece here. It's almost like the ivy almost comes together there, and then the branch goes across like this. I really like trees. There's some of the trees that I see, I always think, oh yeah, that'll make a really good painting. Yeah, that's about the tree. That's the essence of the tree. Now we'll try the... Just sort of thinking I've got quite a lot of dark on my brush. Is there any dark spots I can use? I suppose with a bit of brown in there, I can use it to do this. Because that looks quite dark and very rich soil there. I always think you could grow anything in that bit. Try and portray that in the paint. Okay, that needs to come out like that. Yeah, that's a bit better. It's got a bit more depth to it. This area needs darkening as well, actually. This tree here. Just thinking about the all the little twigs and stuff, they sort of come and go into a bulk area in those. So leave that like that. I need to cover some of this as well. It's a bit too red. I like it, but it's a bit too red. And there's a bit of a shape there that's not there. Like that. Because then this comes out like this. Yeah. So I can put in a few branches on this tree. I'll use my super fine, what is it, 2 zeros. Not 1, but 2. See if I like using 2 zeros or not. I don't know about this brush, to be honest, but we'll see. Let's see if I can get this wiggly one. There's a wiggly branch that goes. Yes, I'm not sure about this brush at all. I don't know. I always find it good to get a new brush though, and then you can try them out. I'm not really used to it. I think I need to pull it through the paint a bit better, and maybe I can get a better movement. We'll use it for this one as well. I think if I go like pull it away at each time and not put too much pressure on, I think I'll be alright with this brush actually. Just getting used to it. Try and pull it away. So I've got my other brush, and this one. It's a little bit bigger though, that's the only thing. So I'm not sure if I can get specifically good branches with it. I might do. Just whiting my paint again. Let's have a go with this one. It being so much bigger. I'll stick with this bad boy. Whenever I need a thicker one, I'll use that one. Whenever I need to do thinner branches, I'll use this one. Just looking at the way the branches are. Trying to get them all in there. Well, as many as I can paint to make it look more like the tree, because you can't always paint them all. Sometimes it's quite a good idea to just sort of rough over the area, because there's so many of them. They sort of come together in a way, so you can kind of get away with doing stuff like this. There was an artist that did that once, and I was amazed that it worked. See, it sort of gets that effect of all the little branches, because it's going to be too difficult to paint them all in unless you use a magnifying glass. And I've done that before. I got these glasses that magnifies things, and I was doing miniatures for a while. But I ended up using the magnifying glass because I found that a bit more comfortable. The glasses were I really used them to, well, the real reason I got them, I should say, was to use them to fix my computer, because I bought a what are they called? A processor. I bought a processor for my computer because I saw a better one, because my computer kept crashing like it still does. But it crashes less now. It used to crash loads, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's quite a bargain, and I bought it. And then when I got it, I was like, oh no, it was a bargain for a reason, and the reason was all the pins in the processor are all bent. So I ended up using tweezers and this really strong magnifying glass to fix it. You can see sort of some trees over here, but they're not as big. Just growing out there. So I'll put them in. Okay. That works. That's good. Now there's some branches that are along here as well. Sorry about my hand getting in the way. I'm a bit browner in these yellow ochre and some umber for these ones. one that you can see. Bit of light in it. No, not quite like that. Sort of hints there. I don't want it to be too overpowering though, because my eye at the moment is going over there, but there is some light that I need to start adding in now. This is an old bit there. Get these different trees, or beginning trees, that's sort of in the front. Don't like that. That's a bit better. Yeah, something like this. Now we can start improving things a bit. Especially on the grass, because that was a lot brighter on the ground. So I'm going to go into some yellow ochre in this reddish, whoops, that's too much red now. Yellow ochre, oh that's nice. Maybe a tiny bit of white in it as well. I can start indicating some of this colour that's along here. It's like a yellowy. I think I went a bit too bright there. It's in the fields. Just sort of indicating the shapes, really. Not sure if you can see. No, I'll put some line on top of that, but I just wanted to get the indication of some of the shape, and then some of the green. Some of the green bits. Some areas there's a nice strong green, and some areas it's quite dull. So I'm trying to get that in. The different greens, the greeny blues. There's even some really dark areas in amongst this as well. Try and get that in as well. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Some of this darkness is just very, very nothingness, which is alright if that's what you want, but I'm going to start putting something in it to break up the nothingness. Bit of a greeny, bluey colour. It'll fade away a little bit, but it just give it something rather than nothing. Also just made a sort of a grey, just with a bit of blue and brown and white and green. It's sort of a greyish. There's some of that here. It's more of a greeny grey as well in amongst this. Tap some of it away. Okay, now, oops, drop my brush. Now using the yellow ochre, I can start putting lines in this. Some of it has like a bit of a red in it as well. Okay. Put a few of those lines on there. Okay. Now there's something else that I want to do. Let's use in the dark. Just break into some of this. Now I'm going to have a little bit more colour in the path as well. When you start using the smaller brush, you start going for it then, and like getting in all these little details. You can just indicate things. A little bit lighter along here. Whoops, a whole lump of paint there. Anyway, let's put that small brush down because it's sending me crazy. So now what I want to do, I'm umming and ahhing a bit about bringing in the dog walker. I just need a bit more light on the grass. And I've kind of lost my green that I had in there. You can see in amongst where the crop's growing. You can see some of it. It's out of season, of course. It's not growing as well as normal. It's just like an effect. I think that's a bit better. Maybe I think we're nearly there. Just letting it dry a bit. I don't know whether I should just put an indication of the dog walker. I get a bit of dark colour. Maybe if he was here, you've got to think about where you'd see him. If he was stood there, you wouldn't see him because of this dark. So then you've got to lighten him up. If he was down here, you would see him a bit better. You get hold of this liner brush and you just want to do more. You do detail. I don't know if I want him in. I think this will help though. Maybe instead, because you can see a couple of birds here. I'll have a couple of birds there. Maybe I'll have one on the ground. Nah. That branch there. I mean, we could have him. If I had him, I'd be putting him here maybe. Nah, I'll leave it as it is. I quite enjoyed that actually. It worked out better than my idea. I don't think there's anything more I could do. Well, there is. I could add a bit of yellow here. There's sort of a need for me to have a bit of more colour there. A bit more colour there. A bit more colour there. That'll sort of vanish a little bit anyway. Don't want to have that too light. I think I'm finished. It's another fun little sketch. The moonlight. Got the field, the moonlight, and the path that goes up towards here. But really, I wanted to paint the tree and the moon, which was my original idea. And I think we're there. We could paint more if we wanted. There's always more you can do. You know, you've got to learn how to put your brush down though, because you can overdo things. I know I can, that's for sure. A bit more yellow just there. And it almost looks, this is the strange thing, almost looks like there's a line here. There. I'm gonna stop now. But I've enjoyed that. It's been a fun one to do, and I'll show you the dried painting, and hopefully I'll see you at another one. Cheers, bye.